Now, in related news, whether for the unity government or against it, most Israelis on the street agree that the move is a major and controversial gamble.
So I think it's a very dramatic moment for Israel and politics, and for Bennett himself. He's taking a huge gamble. Either he'll succeed and he will be able to steer the government that he's putting together towards the right, which is the way he wants to do it, and keep it together and be able to do good things, and then he'll make history for himself and for Israel, or he'll fail and it will fall apart very quickly, and then he will probably not be able to be elected because he's lost his support. There are a lot of Bennett supporters that are very disappointed, so we'll see what happens.
With me to discuss, Israeli journalist and author of Industry of Lies, Ben-Dror Yemini, and Jeremy Saltan, political strategist and director of English operations for the Yamina Party. Thank you both so much for being with us. Now, Jeremy, I'm going to start with you. Bennett says that it's either this or endless elections, but will this wide unity government be stable? Because if the government falls and we go back to elections in a couple months, is that really better than just having new elections now?
I'll tell you what is better than trying, and that is to just go to another election automatically. Look, in order for this to work, we have to expect that both sides agree not to troll each other and to understand that there is veto power on both sides. So the chances of any side being able to go ahead and have some scoring of points in the newspapers, might be a short-term gain, but there's no policy gain that you can have from that perspective in a government like this. Look, we're not going to be able to do what I would like to do, which is to apply sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. But we're also not going to go ahead and have a disengagement. We're not going to have peace talks with the Palestinians. We're not going to be able to go ahead and do a lot of things that I would like to do. And, Merits and Labor understand that they're not going to be able to do that either. What we do have is a situation where we can actually pass a national budget. We were the only country across the globe not to do that in 2020. So far in 2021, we're the only country to do so. We have to start work pretty soon on a 2022 budget. The basic elementary function of a state government is the ability to go ahead and budget the taxes that were given based on the priority of the lawmakers that were chosen by the sovereign, which is the Israeli people. I think when it comes to the economy, when it comes to health, when it comes to most of the issues, which really should be at the top of the agenda at the current moment, there is not really a situation of right or left. There's just a situation of actually getting things done. And I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to do so.
All right, well, Ben-Dror, I want to turn to you. Do you agree that this is maybe the best chance at having something functional in Israel's near and immediate future? And would you then address maybe some of the things that Jeremy said a moment ago about prioritizing some things over others that are clearly not going to go anywhere given the wide spectrum of beliefs?
Well, surprise, surprise, but we do agree. We do agree because we had already 4 rounds of elections. So it's not anymore a question of 2 states or not 2 states. It's not on the table. I mean, what was on the table is only one thing: yes, Bibi or not Bibi, which means yes, Netanyahu or not Netanyahu. And after 4 rounds, he could not, let's not forget it, he could not form a government. And when he could not form a government, what do you want us to do? To go to a 5th election and to a 6th election, and in order to get what? Just the same. And we know already, I mean, we have already polls, and the polls are saying, they indicate that the results are going to be the same. So what for? Now, it's not going to be a left-wing government. It's going to be a unity government. Let's not forget the 44 seats from this 61 seats are going to be of the right and of the center-right, not of the left. The left will have only 13 mandates, 13 seats out of the 61. So I don't see any better move, but the main problem right now is a huge incitement which is taking place in the social media and so on. Against who? Against what? Against someone who was the head of the Judea and Samaria Council, someone who is coming from the right. Is he going to do what? To negotiate with the Hamas? To give up the territories? What is he going to do that is going to be so bad for Israel? I don't understand. I don't know. So I do hope that this government will give us all some stability and some prosperity and will solve some problems. Yes, it's a unity government. It's not a left-wing government. It's not a right-wing government. It's a center kind unity government, and we should all hope that this government is going to succeed.
All right, now, Jeremy, I want to come back to you. Netanyahu and many on the street, including the man we just heard from a moment ago, the voter we just heard from, are admitting that great issues have arisen from this choice. Bibi is saying that this would be, or rather, I'll stick with the fact that they're accusing Bennett of betraying his voters. Number two, Yamina number two, Ayelet Shaked, is getting so many death threats that she has received an extra personnel in her security detail. What do you say to all of these voters who feel this way?
Well, first of all, I have to condemn all of the violence and all of the hatred and all this stuff that's going against Ayelet, Naftali, and everyone on the Yamina list. This is not an acceptable thing to have in a democracy. Of course, it's legitimate to have a protest. You can go ahead and convey whatever it is that you want to say, but I can tell you what's going on, I think, is definitely way beyond the fray. In terms of the actual content of what we're having here, in terms of all these allegations coming from Netanyahu and Smotrich and a lot of others within the right-wing camp, let's remember that our two major campaign promises were that Naftali Bennett was running to be prime minister and that we were running to prevent a fifth election. Now, it's true that we made other campaign promises in terms of not sitting with the Arabs and not sitting with Meretz, but these are things that came in a different category of the how are we going to go ahead and achieve our main campaign promises of Naftali Bennett and preventing a fifth election. I think it's very clear to the majority of our voters. And again, I'm not saying that there's not a debate, and I have that, of course, in my family and among my friends as well. But there is a debate. There are a lot of people who are very happy to see Naftali Bennett as prime minister and the prevention of another election. That is the primary campaign promises. And for most people who voted for us, that is exactly what we're able to give them, and they were happy about it. And there's some symbolisms here that I think are important to explore. Look, Naftali Bennett is going to be the most right-wing prime minister we've ever had. He's not going to be able to do all of the things that he would like to do, but this is the first time that you have someone who's to the right of the Likud in terms of a majority of the views on the national security and diplomacy arena, who's going to be sitting in the prime minister's chair. And we should not take that as being a light thing. Of course, the symbolic nature of the first person who's a religious Jewish person who wears a yarmulke, right, a kippah on his head. This is also a very big symbolism. And I'll say a third one also is, of course, a person who made Aliyah, who's an immigrant from America, having the children of American immigrants, Naftali Bennett, taking that position of prime minister, the first person not to come from Europe or born in Israel to European parents. This is also a very, very, very big landmark thing. So again, there's a lot of very positive things that we should see from this development.
All right, BenDror Yemini, Jeremy Saltan, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.